Okay, we'll come back to you. The first public speaker is Patricia Puente.
I have a concern. So the city does have the monies to give away inmates incarcerated for 37 years. Who is authorizing and giving millions of dollars to inmates coming, these monies are coming from the taxpayers. Uh, Wrongful convictions cost Chicago taxpayers $1 billion. Okay, these diverts funds from public services, creating a cycle of debt and distrust to the law enforcement and city hall, whoever is authorizing these monies. So the city of Chicago is giving free monies and taking away monies that could be used for the homeless people, Medicare, Medicaid, and our youth programs that this meeting is about. Who is beneficiarying from these? Who's authorizing this millions of dollars? And then asking the people that worked for their monies, rich people, middle class, and poor people, to pay for more taxes. I feel that whoever, the law enforcement, whoever did wrong, this money should be taken out of their pension, not out of the taxpayers, out of their pension. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year to everybody.
The next speaker is Dennis White.
Good morning. Well, 2026 is a year of violence already. You got 29th got shot already. 2 people got stabbed on the CTA red line this past week. And then this dumbfounded mayor over here is saying that crime is down. So he gonna say it's gonna be an all-time low again for 2026, like he lied about 2025. So, some of us are getting tired of the shooting, the violence, these criminals, based off of the lack of leadership of J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson and some of you council members right here. So when the president from Venezuela got captured, who was the first one who spoke on that? Pincho Lopez. He spoke on that, but he never speak on the violence that's going on in Chicago. He don't make no ordinance of how to stop the violence. He voted for the curfew not to be enforced. He voted against it just like his leader Brandon Johnson did. So what we gonna have to do, people? Do we have to take laws in our own hands since the policeman's not gonna do it and stuff? What is it that's gonna take to get some of you guys' attention around here? Well, you got less than 1 calendar year now. Them seats gonna be vacant. We're gonna replace somebody who are more of adults than you kids are. Raw fan. I'm a veteran. I'm a combat veteran. And I'm gonna put this on notice. I still know how to use combat training out in the streets. And my sanctuary home, since you all make this a sanctuary city, my sanctuary home is the gun range. So this Second Amendment is gonna be enforced. If you all don't get it together, curb the violence, which you're not, hire more police, and most importantly, impeach Brandon Johnson because he's doing the most criminal act there is, Ralph Hain. Maybe deportate some of these illegals out of here. That might curb the crime. But you know what? Nobody ain't gonna do it because you know why? Everybody's in the CTU pockets right now. They're the biggest gang members right offhand. And CTU doesn't mean Chicago Teaching Union. It means the Clown Communist China Teacher Union. That's what it is. And I also forgot confused because that's all they do is snap their fingers and stuff. Half of them don't have a job. They don't smell too good anyway. So you all need to really make good legislation and make this city a more safer than what it is because everybody's starting to move out of Chicago. Everybody leaving Illinois. I mean, It's up to you guys now, but it's up to us to make our own sake because we're tired of being victims.
The next speaker is Nada Abbott.
Good morning, council members. My name is Nada Abbott. I live in 44th Ward, and I want to thank you so much. I'm a mom, and you know, I always think when we make policy, it's really hard for people to know all the things that go into, complex regulatory, operational, all of the systems that will be actually working in real life. So I think of any policy or any rule as in, is it good enough for my child? And if I can understand the processes and the enforcement that goes into it and how it will play out in real life, then it's good enough, right? When we look at what was used to be SNAP curfew and what it is now, some different type of name curfew, we're looking at process that has a lot of steps in it. If we can correctly identify the location, if we can correctly predict what's going to happen, if we can give correct instructions to the law enforcement, if people can actually learn about it in time, every step in the process an opportunity for it to break down and for things to go wrong. And the one thing I don't want to live with on my conscience is another child being killed. So as a mom and as a person who lives on the north side, right? And last year after the Pride Parade, we saw hundreds of police officers on Belmont policing literally a couple of dozen of Black children. And it looked like the footage from South African apartheid. And it was hard to look at. And I don't want to be part of the system to think that it is okay if you live in Lakeview or Lincoln Park or any other part of the city. It's okay to make children not feel safe and not feel welcome in our city, because that's the worst thing we can do. And all the research and all the data shows that punishing people does not improve outcomes. Investing in people, investing in education, investing in programs, investing in healthcare, investing in training, and creating spaces for young people to go is what works. So I would really like to ask this council to seriously consider the consequences of policy that can potentially result in tragic outcomes, and really think about investing in our children, investing in underserved communities. And as someone who lives in Lakeview, I really would like to invest in programs where children from different parts of the city are welcome, can work together, can play together, can learn together, and can feel loved and cared for. Thank you so much for your time.
The next speaker is Chris Abbott.
Good morning. My name is Chris Abbott. I'm a retired U.S. Air Force Chief Master Sergeant, a healthcare executive, and a resident of the 44th Ward. Thank you for the opportunity to address the Chicago City Council's Public Safety Committee. My goal today is to encourage you to reject the proposed ordinance offered by Alderman Brian Hopkins and William Hall that would establish a so-called time and site curfew. As a senior non-commissioned officer, I pledged to uphold the Constitution. I spent much of my career in the Air Force as a Cold War warrior, fighting an authoritarian regime that worked tirelessly to prevent its citizens from having the rights we enjoy as Americans. Restricting free speech and assembly, granting police additional powers to detain and arrest young people, and relying on social media mass surveillance are violations of the First Amendment. At a time when our rights as Americans are being further eroded on a near daily basis, and Chicago citizens are being attacked, illegally detained, and kidnapped by ICE agents while CPD stands idly by, the last thing we need in our city is a repressive, ill-intentioned ordinance that further targets predominantly Black and brown children. We do not need to deploy additional ways to criminalize Chicago's teens or create unnecessary and potentially unsafe interactions with police. Like the misguided SNAP curfew before it, I don't see Police Superintendent Snelling asking for more tools for CPD police officers. As Mayor Johnson correctly stated, the fact that we did not have an incident over New Year's Eve without any additional tools is proof positive that a revised curfew ordinance is not needed. Our efforts should instead be focused on expanding programs to engage teens, provide job opportunities, and protect our libraries and community spaces. Alderman Hopkins, the residents of the North Side see you, and we see this proposal for what it is, a tired, racist effort that we have grown to expect from Republicans, but not from Democrats. In closing, again, I would urge you to reject the proposed ordinance to establish a so-called time and site curfew. And I would say, in comparison to my other veteran brother here, I don't have guns and I do not propose violence. It's a wrong answer. This should be a city of peace, and we need to work on that in many, many ways. Thank you for your time this morning.
The next speaker is Apostle Sandy Norman.
Good morning. Honor to the city council and honor to God first and all of our respectable organizations that are here. And so I'm here, as you guys know, my name is Sandy Norman. I'm the founder of Life Beyond Limits, VIP, which stands for Violence Intervention and Prevention, Chain Breakers Outreach Ministries. And so I don't come, today from a perspective of being behind a desk, but I come from a perspective of actually being in the Black community, being in the streets, and also as a person that spends a lot of money helping to bury, young people that are ages 14 and 15 that are dying in the streets premature. And so I want to say to the council, I have an opportunity where we partner with the police department. We go to all the hot spots. In fact, we'll be out in Lawndale on Friday if anybody wants to join us. We had 3 shootings on 15th and 16th and Holman. And so when we start, we talk about violence, we talk about, curfew. I'm in agreement that we do need curfews, and we also need programs. When I was young, there were programs that we had, late at night. And one of the things that I want to say to the council, we continue to say that crime is decreasing, but when you really have an understanding of the street, we know that crime, listen, in our communities, I want to say, is not decreasing enough. And when you have young men that, kill each other, where we have gang wars, the cycle continue to repeat itself because the younger generation normally takes over. And you have the children that are 14 and 15 years old that are on social media. You have the entertainment, companies that promote, the violence. And again, I think that when you're in the situation and you experience these things, you see things a lot different. These children are popping pills, they are, doing things in the street, that's causing premature death. And so I do feel that we do need curfews, we need more funding, we need people like myself that really care about the community, that's in the community, that actually deal, in the community with the children, to actually be voices that understand what's actually going on. And so people like myself, I'm here because I don't get any funding. I've been for the past 7 years, as I continue to say, I've been coming here. I still haven't gotten a meeting with the mayor, but I do want to thank Alderman Sposato for his help. Even though I don't work in some of the alderman communities like Gardner, they have taken the initiative to say, hey, what can we do to help? And they've made phone calls. They have actually done things that have been instrumental. So again, I say to those of you, that sit on the council, even though
All right, thank you for your comments. Please add Alderman Gardner to the attendance roll call for purposes of quorum, and let the attendance record reflect the presence of Alderman Cardona and Alderman Hall. And also Alderman Curtis, I see you are on the Rule 59 Zoom list. Can you acknowledge, please, so we can add you?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Curtis. The next speaker is George Blakemore.
one black alderman that I see that's present. And this curfew is specifically targeting the black youth. Now, I did see Mr. Yancey, but he's not here. This absentee rule, is something wrong here. And I'm walking around and I'm counting the people. The people are not here. I think it's about 20 black people. And most of those people are representing Go Red and Flip Red. And I can't understand what's going on here. It's something evil here. It's something corrupt here. The people are not here. The people are not here. The people should be outraged, especially black people. That curfew is specifically targeting black youth. And Black Lives Matter to me. It's something wrong here. And I always say what about the French Revolution. Marie Antoinette said, feed the people cake. They ended up killing her. The American Revolution was violence. The taxation without representation. What did they do? They started fighting. You are setting up a war here against the various ethnic groups here. Something is bad here. It stinks here. Somebody put out, you know, Mr. Bakemore is old and he smelled or whatever. And he needs a caretaker. All of us need a caretaker. We all need somebody to take care of us because all of us are out of control. This is a cesspool here. We're all out of control. So what should we do? We should work together to try to clean this SHI up. All hands on deck. We all have gone, we're short. Look at the empty seats here. Look at the empty seats here. Something is wrong with Mr. Blakemore. And it's funky here. It's funky with all of them here. All of them. Every one of them. Including me, you, and us, and we. We have to stop this and clean this SH up. Clean it up. When do you want it cleaned up? Now. All of you. When do you want it cleaned up? Now. All of you. All of us.
The next speaker is Zoe Lee.
Another one bites the dust. Jill Jarowski's out of here. Yeah. Mayor Stacey Davis Gates administration is just crumbling. Happy New Year, though. Anyway, we're here for public safety. The whole city of Chicago is a public safety threat. A whole threat. How many more deaths will it take before Lakeshore Drive is treated like the high-speed roadway it is and built to actually protect the public? Two young people, Prince Jermail Sullivan and Deanna Kay, lost their lives on South Lakeshore Drive after their car stalled. Their deaths were not an accident. They were foreseeable consequences of a road without continuous guardrails or safe pull-off shoulders, a known and deadly design flaw. The city has repeatedly failed to fix this infrastructure. Drivers have no safe shoulder. Cars that stall are left in live traffic lanes, exposed to high-speed vehicles. Cameras, enforcement, and studies will not protect a stalled car at 4 a.m. Only proper guardrails and emergency pull-off zones. At the same time, Governor Pritzker, Illinois, had just passed SBO 508, which allows individuals to sue, and it's undocumented individuals, to sue federal immigration agents for constitutional rights violations that they don't have any rights to. And protected spaces like hospitals, schools, and courthouses with statutory damages of at least 10,000 per violation. This law recognizes the right to safety and accountability even when federal authorities fail to protect the public. The owner of the Kia and the murderer that's still out is an undocumented man from Ecuador named Miguel Angel Navarrete Palacios, but y'all know it, is an illegal alien and from Ecuador and is still out here being protected. We have a illegal alien criminal crisis, because the man that, thank God, President Trump went and got the other night while we were all asleep. And you got Brian Cicho Lopez, who's out there standing, defending him next to someone with a trans flag at their rally that they did. No American flags, Venezuelan flags and trans flags. Yes, rebels without no cause. Anyway, I need somebody to check on that. I know you don't care, Hopkins, but this is your last turn.
The next speaker is Danielle Carter.
Okay, like we just said, this is not going away. We are here for justice for Stephanie Hartley, her son, that Zoe just talked about, who was killed by an illegal alien. We want justice for Prince Jamel Sullivan and for Breonna Kay. And we had Miss Stephanie on our show, on our YouTube channel, and this is not going away. So these were Chicago citizens and students. These teens or these people went and they did everything right. Went to school, graduated from college, and were in their careers, had their lives mapped out. Best friends. And it was taken away from an illegal alien. They graduated from De La Salle, and you have the nerve to be protecting an illegal alien and not comforting the mom who lost her child. So, we're telling you right now, we need investigator Jay Wilson to get back to her, because the thing about it is you all haven't even contacted her since the death of her child. And you all are protecting the illegal alien. So this is not going away. Miss 3 holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year without her child, and you all won't even contact her, get back to her, or let her know anything about the murderer who murdered her child. An illegal alien that you all are protecting. So we're telling you, this is not going away. We're not going to allow it to go away. We're going to keep this story in the forefront because we are the media. The fake news won't take it, but we will. We're demanding justice for her son. Because, see, he wasn't a game banker. He wasn't out here in the streets doing things that you all want to say that we do. He was a graduate. He worked for People Gas after he graduated from college, Northern. He got it. NIU. So he did everything that you all tell us to do. What we need to do as an American citizen, everything right. An illegal alien can come here. A low-life and illegal alien can come here and take his life, and he's protected. Yeah. So we're putting you all on notice. If investigator Jay Wilson don't get back to her, we will be down there at the precinct. And we're asking you, Superintendent Snelling, make sure you talk to this grieving mom.
Next speaker is Aisha Davis.
Good morning, Chairman Hopkins, Vice Chair Yancey, and committee members. My name is Aisha Davis, and I'm Senior Policy Counsel at the ACLU of Illinois. And I'm here today to oppose the proposed ordinance being considered by this committee that would create time and site curfews for minors. While this proposal would not permit SNAP curfews as defined within the draft ordinance, it is still an expansion of the Chicago Police Department's existing authority to disperse groups or to utilize other practices that risk criminalizing the already over-policed Black and brown youth in our city. First, evidence shows that curfews do not affect crimes committed by or targeted against young people. These measures, relics from a time where people of color were labeled as super predators, do not meet the needs of the present day. We know that these policies do not work, and doubling down at a time where our city is under a microscope and where our communities of color and immigrant communities are facing heightened targeting and demonization is not only dangerous, it does not make our community safer. Second, the ordinance would permit officers to issue a citation or make an arrest based on reasonable belief. This does not meet the required probable cause standard for law enforcement officers to arrest someone. And there's nothing in the ordinance that would permit a defense for a minor who was not aware that there was a curfew in place. The combination of these provisions means that law enforcement officers are permitted to act without meeting a recognized and enforced standard, while young people are required to adhere to a curfew they may not even be aware of or risk arrest. Finally, there's no way to ensure that this ordinance will be applied fairly for Chicagoans. When looking at the arrests after the very first night of the 2020 curfew, 93% of minors arrested for curfew violations were Black. There's no evidence that there would be any reduction in the discriminatory application of this or any other curfew. While we do appreciate the acknowledgement that exercising First Amendment rights should be an effective defense to the curfew, that does not negate the historical and current disproportionate criminalization of Black and brown youth, including in those instances where these young people are, in fact, exercising their constitutional rights. While Section I purports to ban SNAP curfews, we acknowledge that there is a shift in requirements for imposing a curfew. This does not erase the aforementioned concerns, nor does it require or mandate posting information about the curfew in public places subject to the declaration of the curfew. Additionally, while law enforcement officers may repeat the verbal notice, it's not required. As written, this ordinance gives more flexibility to the law enforcement officers trained in handling crowds safely and without violence than the minors who are literally just walking around the city that they call home. As we saw last week with New Year's Eve, there can be success with our current curfew ordinance. The mayor reiterating the existing weeknight curfew worked. It's clear that we do not need a new, more restrictive law, and in addition, requiring posted written notice by law enforcement officers and verbal dispersal orders with clear instructions will create better safeguards for young people in our.
The final speaker is Jessica Jackson.
The biggest threat to public safety is city council. You all are the biggest threat to public safety. The mere fact that you all have the power to manipulate the police the way that you do is an issue of public safety. Anytime that the police here in City Hall can be utilized to harass us, to keep us from coming into the meeting on December 29th, because you all didn't want us to get to the mic to talk about all the money in that budget that was still in there, the line item for new arrivals for over $200 million to illegal immigrants after you all have already put this city in the ground financially. You did not want us to alert the public about the inflated property taxes that are unevenly distributed through this city, where the Black communities were targeted with extremely high tax increases, where downtown and the north side got moderate to none, as less as 5%. The fact that you all did not want us to get to this mic to talk about the fact that, despite the fact that you all have grossly mismanaged the city of Chicago, but you're still going to give yourself raises. You didn't want that. So you violated our rights and you manipulated the police department to attack citizens and to keep 3 unarmed women and children out in the hallway. And you all have no shame about it whatsoever. You all are the biggest threat to public safety. Now, in addition to that, your runners up are your preachers. Those black preachers that lied in front of Trump Towers saying that Trump is the cause of these property tax increases. Those are the public safety threats, that they will stand in front of Trump Towers and lie with the hopes of inciting a riot, hopes that they will incite the public. We calling on them black preachers that stood behind Brandon Johnson, that are members of the Cook County boards, that know all about these property taxes because they sat in there just like the black aldermen sat in here and allowed that disproportionate tax to go that way. Oh, we are dealing with them. Those are the threats to public safety. Anytime a preacher will use his voice to tell the public a lie that Trump did.
Okay, this concludes our public speakers.